The drama triangle. This has got some detail to it. So as you look at the screen here, let's take our eyes and focus a little bit on the left-hand side. Whenever someone comes in my office and they have a challenge that they're working through, or they want to tell me a story that their husband did something, their child did this, or whatever it might be. As they finish their story, we take a break and I ask them to check themselves up, and I ask the following 3 questions. Are you focused on the solution or the problem? And they'll usually, every time they'll said the problem. Okay. Is your energy one of acceptance or resistance? And so we talk about that. And then I ask them, are they neutral in their position, or are they biased, or what we call predictionary? And they will say that I'm biased. I said, okay, now what we know is that you are in the drama triangle. And if you'll notice here the energy, we're not looking at the person that they're angry at. We're looking at themselves. You cannot heal any relationship until you first focus on yourself. So now I know where we are. I'm problem-based, I'm in resistance, and I'm biased. There's no neutrality here, I have predictionary. I'm going to be playing the role, and please pay attention to the word. I'm playing the role versus I'm a victim. We live in a society that's constantly labeling people. Oh, the victim, I'm a victim, or a persecutor, or whatever it might be. No, that's not your authentic self. Your authentic self isn't to be a victim. Your authentic self isn't to be worthless, powerless, helpless, hopeless. That's not your true self. Your authentic self is far different than that. Your authentic self is someone who lives in the flow, who has worth, who knows how to develop relationships based on mutual trust and respect. Your authentic self knows that you own your happiness, joy, and well-being. But you see, when you play the role of, in the drama triangle, you play the role of a victim, a persecutor, or a rescuer. That's not your true self. So let's make sure we've got clarity on what those things mean. There are people who are so masterful at playing the role of a victim, they will initiate and orchestrate a fight in their family, with their spouse, with their siblings, with their children, just so they can come in and rescue. It's bizarre. It's collusionary, but it's what we do. So a victim is someone who perceives themselves as worthless, helpless, and hopeless, powerless. So go down the false narratives. They're codependent. It's poor me, self-pity. There's a lack of boundaries. So look at the outside of the triangle. When you're a rescuer to victim, that's self-blame. That's the pity. The self-righteousness is the persecutor. And the martyr syndrome is the rescuer, of course. So the victim will almost always, if you're playing the role, move themselves to the persecutor. Because you can only take being a victim for so long. And you will engage other people. It's like dealing them a deck of cards. And as they pick up the cards to look at their hand, they're engaging with you inside the drama triangle. A persecutor is the one who gets angry, who criticizes and bullies. And this could be a passive-aggressive persecutor. They could start out even as a martyr, and then they get frustrated of being the martyr, so they'll move themselves to a victim, and then they'll move themselves to persecutor, whereas the rescuer is the enabler, of course. They have no boundaries. They live in the 3 A's. I once had a coach of mine who talked about his mother, who was the quintessential rescuer. He would come home from school, and this was for years. He and his sister would come home, and there'd be a new woman in their home wearing their mother's apron, cooking in the kitchen. And they would just kind of laugh, and they would say, okay, who is mom taking hostage today? Well, the storyline is as follows. The mother would meet a woman who was down on her luck. She would sweep in and rescue the woman, bring her home, clothe her, feed her, and then start giving her chores. So the woman could then serve her, the mother. So the argument that they made, or the way they labeled their mom, is that she doesn't make friends, she takes hostages, because she started out as a rescuer. Well, the person was playing the role of the victim. With time, and it usually lasted between 1 to 5 days, just trying to remember the story you told me, that woman would eventually rebel, resist, and then leave. So then she would feel again the role of a victim. But while she was allegedly rescuing, as she would give her all these assignments to do, she was wanting that woman to do what she said to do because she knew better, have to be right. She was actually persecuting her by keeping her somewhat in some sort of an indentured servant position. Well, I've done so much for you, you could at least do this for me. That's clearly a persecutor's position with a tip of the victim on it. So just be mindful. If you really want to get an idea of what's going on, don't label someone from the standpoint of a judgment. Just recognize the behavior and look at yourself first. What are you playing? After you determine, are you solution-based or problem-based, acceptance or resistance, neutral or biased, predictionary? If you find that you're problem, resistance, and predictionary, you will be in the drama triangle playing one of those roles. Please get to know what that looks like. Only then, as your awareness grows, can you regulate a different behavior. Thanks for listening.